Hi, I'm just gonna make sure that the mic is working again. Let's see. All right. It's working. So what's so annoying about that is the fact that typically there's little green dots underneath the stream video that I can see on my laptop that light up green as you get higher volume levels and stuff like that. So the other night when they didn't light up, I assumed that there was no sound, but there's sound today, so we'll take it. I just got a bunch of prep done for Glenda Clutches, so we're going to go through and actually finish some of those up today. And I'm just going to post to my Instagram to let people know that we are actually live today with sound. Always good. Yeah, kiddos are at childcare today, so I am able to actually do this. We'll share. Now, if you come to these videos from Instagram, I've been sharing the link because then if there's any tech issues and I need to finish the stream, you can come back to the channel easier than if I were to link an actual live stream. I learned that the hard way the first few times that I actually went live. And yes, I have cut my hair quite short. I'm just looking at it. I think I look a little bit like an Oompa Loompa right now, but that's because of the curls. Typically I go and see someone at Stellar Studio, but I wasn't able to do that today because they're closed on Mondays and I was out running and it's just I need to get this hair off my head. I've never been this short since I was a kid and yeah, it's she clipped the back of it. My neck is not used to those clippers and stuff like that, so it's almost sensory overload for me, and I am pretty hard to overload sensorily, so that was fun. Anyway, so got a nice view. I did actually vacuum the floor today. I swear I'm not superstitious on the whole, but I think some sort of little gremlin or brownie or something is in my house right now, or in my studio, or something came in on the Kimono and Obi probably. I don't know. Something happened because it's last night. I don't know if you joined the live last night, you know that I absolutely dithered. I lost D-ring tabs. I lost swaths of fabric that I'd interfaced to use specifically in the thing for stuff. And then this morning I got to the table, I found the D-ring tabs, but then I lost this flap and just, I don't know. So I offered up some milk and I found stuff, and then I offered up some spirits like whiskey, and then I found the flap, and then I went and cut some more stuff, and I ended up cutting the flap that I was replacing, and so I offered more whiskey, and it went fine. So I guess I'm putting out little plates of whiskey and milk tonight because my goodness, I don't know what happened. Anyway, it's gorgeous. What I'm doing right now is I'm just going to prep a bunch of stuff. I need to wind a bobbin with some clear monofilament thread soon. And so if you hear the beeping, that's the steam press. Just it's auto shut off going. I thought I would be done this and winding thread onto a bobbin already by this point, but I'm not. Anyway, I want these need to be top stitched, but I do not want to top stitch them with white. So I've got to run out the bobbin that I currently have in the machine. And I'm going to scoot you back a little bit just so I can maneuver this better. I got to run the bobbin out in the machine because I don't have any spare bobbins right now. They're all loaded up with black and white, which are my usual threads. But black could work on that fan bag, but it's not going to work on... White isn't going to work on these other bags. So I want to do a bobbin end of clear thread. Now, where are my snips? There's a pair. Okay. That needs another just round of stitching across the bottom of the flap, and then we're good. went for my run today. Typically, I am interval training for my dopey challenge in January, but today I did actually run 3 miles. Now, I moderated my pace as I needed to keep myself more in the cardio zone. I track with my Apple Watch. I just realized I need to get like a nice watch face that I can put on when I'm streaming and stuff like that. Just clip the bottom here so that the curve is nice when we actually turn it. Anyway, so I stayed in cardio as much as possible. Some of the hills got me, but that's okay. A little bit of a like jump up is not going to be bad. That is the intervals today, I guess. And granted, I probably did drop down to a walking speed at some points, but I didn't like specifically go down to a walking pace like I normally do. So I'm quite proud of myself because I don't even run my whole races usually. Usually it is a like run walk interval. So I'm quite pleased with that. Did it pick up my pace? No. But I did it. And like I still have, so we're closer to 5 months now. Dopey Challenge is at the very beginning of January in Disney World. It's a full half 10 and 5. So we actually go 5, 10, half full marathon over 4 days. It's 48.6 miles in 4 days. It's called the Dopey Challenge because pretty sure you got to be dopey to do it. And yeah, so we're doing that. Then we're going to have a vacation afterwards and walk just as many miles in 4 days in the parks, pretty much. We do have a break day in between. So we run Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then we have a break day, and then we'll go into the parks. And with the kiddos and stuff like that, like park days aren't, well, they went pretty good and hard last time we were down there. But they are a little bit slower, which was kind of the point of us going so many times ourselves beforehand. I really almost don't even want to top stitch these because I like the nice clean front of it. So I'm going to press them and actually see if we need to top stitch them or not. I still need the clear thread to like top stitch to the top of the bag. So like that's a moot point there, but like they're really nice this way. So I think we're just going to press them and not top stitch them. It's gorgeous. Like this has to be seen to be believed in person. Actually, it would help if I turn the brightness up on my screen probably. But yeah, like that is not color accurate. Although it is picking up this like iridescent shimmer on here really well. Almost better than in person actually, for that at least. It reminds me of like seams going through sedimentary rock, which if I had better success with my chemistry and physics when I was in high school, I would have actually gone into the geology program. I did not, however. Okay, so we may as well stitch in the sides of these. Okay. Sorry, I do have to keep double checking my watch just to make sure that's nothing for the kids. So if you see me doing that, that is what I'm doing, is I'm actually double checking for them. Just make sure that I didn't receive like a text notification for the child. Either child. Okay, so we're going to sew the interior now for this one. All right, what happened here? Is that right? That looks right. It doesn't feel right, but it looks right. Okay. Good enough. So yeah, so last night it was like I had prepped all of this stuff while the kids were doing TV daycare. They're down here watching Blaze and the Monster Machines, which is their new show of delight. I prepped all this stuff so that like when I came on the live last night, I'd be able to just like sew, and then it's just like nothing was on the table anymore. I swear, I thought that the kids or the cats had gotten it. It was all still there. So I don't know. I think something's in the studio besides the cats and the kids. Nothing malevolent, just something. Just don't understand why all of a sudden. All right, so there is the interior. Oh, darn it. I'm supposed to have a turning opening here. So just seam rip there, seam rip here. It's probably too long. Let's go a little bit in right there. This is what I'm burning the bag through, so like I don't want it too big, but I also do not want it too small. Too small means it's really hard to turn the bag. Too big, and you've got like a massive seam at the bottom. So you kind of try to balance it typically. Okay, there we go. And then try to pick a couple of these stitches out so I can just like run the seam ripper along here. All right, and then actually what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to run it with the red ball down. Apparently it helps to not tear your fabric, which is super cool. All right. Just go through along here, and then I'll back stitch on the edges here so that it gets held in place. Right about there. I'll just run an extra line of stitching. There we go. Done. And then I'll do the same on this side. We'll flip it because it's just easier for my head. Done. There we go. All right. And then we're going to clip it. And clip it. And there is the interior done. All right. Press the seam to one side where I can. And then I think this actually does need to be trimmed down, but I'll do that in a minute. Now, so these are the exterior pieces to shape the thing. We need to sew the darts. So I need to do next. So we're going to take all of these pieces and sew the darts. I always sew my darts bottom to top, or like, yeah, bottom of curve to top, because I'm not 100% sure how you're supposed to actually figure out your seam allowance when starting top to bottom. So, you know. Okay. That seam allowance got a little bit big, so I'll just back it up a little bit. Not seam allowance, stitch length. There we go. So now, are these difficult to put in? A little bit. There was definitely some fussing with them last night. I realized that there are good reasons why I didn't previously record myself doing these. But it all works out in the end, so I'm not too worried about it. Darts all get sewn, and then the seam allowance is supposed to be pressed to one side. Could I chain piece these? Probably, but I don't. The purses and the wallets are kind of difficult to chain piece. It's right now I find it easier to like prep everything before, and then basically and then sew them individually. Typically, I do prefer batch production, but it just doesn't quite work with the purses and wallets. At least not yet. It might in like a year or two. But for now, they just all kind of get pieced. So like, obviously I do the flaps all at once and stuff like that because some of that's easier. But then things like this, it's easier to do it. I find it easier to do it individually. So now I was showing this last night. This is a trick I've learned from quilters, which is where I butt the joints up together, and you can see it doesn't actually, well, this one slips a little bit because this fabric's slippery. But going this way, it won't. Going this way, it just kind of like abuts the other piece. So now, are you supposed to pin this? Yes, but I was messing around with this last night, and I figured out that if I start down at the dart on at least the one side, I can just kind of, it just works. I can't explain it. It's hard to explain because it's the same way as like I don't use pins for my zippers anymore. I used to pin every single zipper into every single bag. But then I started not pinning them, And I got just as good a results by not pinning them versus pinning them, just by holding it by hand. So I don't pin my zippers in anymore and save myself the time, because I'm getting just as good as results. Basically, same failure rate. Pinned versus putting it in by hand. I'm not gonna pin it in. Save myself the time and just not worry about it. So this side is in. Nice line. And then, so typically what you want to do is you want to sew out from the dart, is what I've heard. In this case, I'm going to actually sew from the top down to the dart, because it's just how it has to work on my machine. So that's just what we do. I will line up the top though, so that's matched. There we go. Okay, seam allowance is set. Now I just kind of push this in a little bit to hold it in place. Straighten the top again. Now, would a pin help with this? Yes, probably. But there, stitching the back tack is going to work just as well to hold it up where I want it to be. And down we go. Actually, I am having better success with this today too than I even did last night, which probably is an indication that my experimentation last night needed some sleep. All right, is it perfect? No. Is it handmade? Yes. But there's no like, I'm trying to avoid are any like folds, cricks, all that in this. And this is just a nice, smooth installation. It's so good. I feel like that's probably how you actually set a sleeve in, now that I think about it. That tells me I should actually start doing set-in sleeves. I should start sewing garments. This is my sign, apparently. It's that realization. I do want to sew garments eventually, but it's just like, it's hard enough trying to get purses into production and their work, whereas like garments would just be for me and the kids and probably my husband. I do actually need to start sewing hoodies for my husband, because he looks, the best hoodie shape for him is a raglan sleeve hoodie with a front zip. But do you know how hard it is to find that style? It's like, it's nuts just how hard every year we like. So he needs to replace about, I don't know, probably should replace them about every 9 months. He wears them every day pretty much, especially at work. And he's hard on them because it's an everyday wear item. Okay, this one looks like it's going to need a little bit of extra TLC once I finish it. That's okay. No, it's fine. But yeah, finding like a raglan hoodie, which you think would be easy because it looks good on a lot of guys, is near impossible. At least with the conditions of like, it needs to be a front zip, not a pullover. Which is like, the pullovers look fine on them, but a zip is way easier to like climate control. And B, went on a date with one guy that had like the pullover hoodie raglan, and I can't do it. It was such a shabby situation. Okay, just put there. Got treated very poorly by that gentleman. Not a gentleman, dude. And so I can't stand the look of the pullover raglan hoodies. All right, there you go. Installed. Let me just make sure everything got caught. Yep, we're good. Pop it up there for now. After we'll just trim the seam allowance right now so that I'm done on that factor. Probably should have trimmed that one on the bottom, but that's okay. Trim. So I'm not 100% sure why you sew at a seam allowance and then trim it down. I think it's so that you make sure that you catch everything. But I do know that you want to have your seams, like basically what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to smash two pieces together that are the same size. And so that can lead to baggy linings. And I heard that if you trim the seam allowances down, basically it gives more room to the lining and should create less baggy linings. Now, another solution to this, and what I should start doing, is I should just add like 1/8 of an inch to the seam allowance. Be easy enough to do, but like I don't want to experiment that much right now. I'm just going to follow the pattern. That's the point of buying the pattern. But in future, actually, that is what I'm going to do. And like that, it's only 1/8 of an inch, but it's insane how much of a difference that makes in sewing, because basically it takes up 1/4 of an inch around the whole piece then. Because 1/8 and then 1/8 is 1/4. All right. I'm so proud with my, like, you can't even tell that this has been seamed together with how well that seam lined up. So I'm hoping that I can carry that through. So part of the reason that I did actually swap up how I did this with the dart at the, like, sewing dart up, is because this is so stiff. The one that I did last night, the exterior with the OB, was so stiff. It wasn't even funny. I can feel like this is going to be super slick, and I did not get as much seam allowance on this side. Okay, that's fine. We'll make this work. No. Okay, so it needs to be that seam allowance, not the actual pattern seam allowance. That's fine. Basically, you're trying to sew on the edge of the stabilizer that you're using for the purse, which apparently I didn't get fully centered last when I was fusing it. Come on. No, you got it. I know you got it in you. There we go. Nope, not quite. Okay, there we go. Slow and steady wins the race for this one. I'm glad I used fusible interfacing for this. So in the past, I used sew-in interfusing, in part because it's what I had, and I didn't have the equipment to actually do the proper like fusing of the interfacing. And it made these bags so hard though. Because it was like so slippery and just, it was a nightmare. All right, so I am gonna run that right now. Actually, no, we'll do it when we get this other side sewn, just because then if I need to, I can just do a full round. All right, so we're gonna line up the tops here. Just realized you can't see a lot of what I'm doing when I'm sitting back here, so I'll try and do it more over the desk. Okay, so you need that side of the seam allowance. All right, and then we're gonna kind of manipulate this out and then back in. There we go. Okay. Come on. Machine, Obi, just cooperate today. You're going to be a gorgeous bag for someone, and I'm super excited for you. Okay, there we go. Almost there. There we go. Sweet. All right, now I am just going to continue. Obviously, it would be connected because I just backstitched over the same area where I started on the other one. But we're just going to manipulate this around. There we go. That's better. Now, no creases, but that didn't get caught right there. So I'll go back over it from this side. Oh, that whole thing didn't get caught. Okay, that needs to be seam ripped, and I'll just pull the fabric out because it looks like it basically what happened is there's a little bit of slippage happening here. Sometimes this interfacing fuses really well, and then you start manipulating it like this, and it's just a little bit too much for it to withstand. That's okay. For some reason, it's absolutely fine on the side panel, so that's good. It's one less thing to worry about. But I definitely need to get There we go. Just needs to be scooched in here. And then I'll get just like that. Pull it up, and then we'll stitch it back down. Okay. That's where it stops scooching down. There we go. All right. Can we do it? Can we do it? Okay. It looks like it might just be easier to seam rip this whole thing. No. Let's just kind of pop here. There we go. Yeah. All right, sweet. There we go. Okay. So sometimes stuff works, sometimes it doesn't. This time didn't work. But that's okay. We can fix it. The only thing we can't fix is if we don't cut it right. And everything's cut right. But seam lines can typically be redone. Maybe not easily, but they can be redone. There we go. That's a happier Obi. All right. Now we're just going to follow the same seam line on the side panel. Just with the Obi snugged up where it should be instead of where it was. There we go. All right. Get in there, please. Thank you. There we go. There. All right. Every single one of these is such an adventure. It's ridiculous. Okay, let's see. Caught. Excellent. And it does look like I have a little bit of extra space there if I need to for more seam lines. Trim the side panel down because it got squished in like it's supposed to. And then, so this is kind of cool. So like but then the panel, so it's red, black, and then the panel is going to be red. I debate about doing a black panel on the black side, but I was like, yeah, that seems like, I don't know. I didn't want to make it too much Harlequin-y. It's already pretty Harlequin-y, but like the red and black will still look good. Means if I make another purse, then why am I all the way out there? I need to be there. Anyway, if I make another purse, then I'll be able to use the black for the side panels or whatever purse I make. I think this would actually make a really good Swoon has one called the Heidi Clutch, and with the patterning on this one, I think it would look really good because it's a very large overall pattern, and there's a lot of it, so I'll have the option to be able to make at least a couple more things from this. There we go. All right. Sorry, I am going radio silent, but this bag does take more concentration than I probably should be taking by myself on the live stream. I'll remember that because I was even thinking that last night. I'm like, I'm going radio silent and not talking, and but this bag with these curves here requires my utmost attention. There we go. We're just about there. I think I probably need to go over that. Yeah, I messed up with the seams right at the exact same spot. So apparently it's liking to slip out of just this corner right here, of course. And that's okay. Like I said, sometimes this interfacing is a little bit difficult to get bonded to the Obi. But I will get this fixed. There we go. That should work. This one I I didn't even catch the interfacing, so I don't need to cut or seam rip quite as much. There we go. Okay, back in. There we go. I can feel that I actually already caught that more than last time. This one does feel like it should have had the interfacing fused again, maybe. All right, but there we go. It's all installed. This will be sewn together up here when I actually do assemble it, so it'll be there fine. All right, so there's the interior and the exterior and the flat for that one. And then we got one more exterior, interior to sew for this other bag. And then we will go press all the flaps and assemble, and then sew the zipper divider for them. So I forgot how actually efficient this purse pattern is in some ways. It comes together quite quick. It's got a lot of prep. Holy, there's a lot of prep. But that is where most of your time is consumed. Prep this and prep that and then interface this. I was chatting with someone last night on Instagram because she was cutting out a garment. And she's like, why does the cutting always take so long? And I'm like, I know. And then think of with the bag making, you do it like 6 times because it's like exterior, interior, interfacing, interfacing. Or like in the case of this, it's like 2 pieces. One, like 2 pieces for the main panel, 2 pieces for the like, yeah, it's just a lot. It's fine. But like it's always interesting to see where the tedious part of each of these pieces comes in, because like there's always a tedious part. Knitting, it's swatching. Like if you're swatching for a sweater. Sewing, it's the prep to actually sew. Oh yeah, I need to do the darts on these. Weaving, it's getting the heddles in. I don't know. If you do a craft, let me know in the comments what you find is the tedious part of your craft. The other tedious part is if you're a sweater knitter, it's like Sleeve Island, knitting those sleeves. I think mostly that one is because it's like you're almost at the end of the project. You can see the end in sight, and then you got to do basically another sweater body. It like sleeves do not feel like they take that much time, or that they should take that much time, because they're tiny compared to the body of a sweater. But I think that's it, is like you deceive yourself maybe. I don't know. We'll see. This one's tedium is the prep before sewing. I like the sewing of this one, but yeah. So like, and then it's different on every one. So like the Kato, I'm always like, oh, it's going to be so fast. Because of course you only prototype one at a time. I don't prototype it in batch production because that's pointless. But yeah, like the tedious part for the Kato is sewing the interiors for it, because it's like, sew the pockets to the interior, sew the interior, sew the wedges, and then like put it all together. I don't know. It's just funny. So yeah, let me know. Like, what's the tedious part if you're a 3D printer? What's the tedious part of like 3D printing? The waiting? Maybe? Because I know 3D printing can take a really long time. Like what's the tedious part? I want to know. Curious minds are inquiring. All right. This is a really cool, it's like rainbow dots sword. I just realized there's some thread still from where I pulled the kimono apart. This kimono was also really well loved when I was actually looking at it. So there's some stains on it. I'm trying not to include the stains in the fabric because that's not cool. All of these products I purchase secondhand. So in some rare cases, they haven't even been used or worn, but most of the time they've been worn. And in the case of this one, actually, it looks like it was very well loved, because I was looking at the hem of the kimono, and it was like, there was actually like a dirt line on it. So it's been worn for sure. I don't pre-wash the kimono and obi. simply because I have done that in the past, and it did not turn out in my favor. It actually, the dyes ran and all of that. So I just work with what I have. And in this case, I work around stains and dirt lines. Although that, like, it's so cool. Like, what kind of adventures did this kimono have before I bought it at a temple market? Like, that's so cool. Sounds like it's time to change this needle. Feels okay, but who knows? I think we'll finish stitching the last of this, and then we'll go. Yeah, after I'll go press the flaps, and then I'll change the needle on the machine. All right, stop trying to skip this, please. Thank you. There we go. You know you want to sew around this curve. Thank you. There we go. Almost there. Sometimes slow and steady is the best way to do this. Sometimes quick is the best way to do this. Curves, it's always better to go slow and steady. I do love the fact that I had the realization that this is how you would set in a sleeve, basically. Oh, I need to trim down the seam allowances on that other one. So what I should do is actually clip this with the pinking shears so that it gives it a little bit more of a ability to curve. All right. I caught that whole edge. So now we go to the other side. Then we'll go dart up and then top to dart. Dart to top, top to dart. Would it probably be faster if I could figure out how to do it from side to side? Yes, but right now I'm just going to use what I need, what works for me. Oh yeah, no, okay. I think actually we need to change that needle now. Means I need to go track down my screwdriver. I just had to do a little bit of maintenance on my serger, so well, now I need to change the needle on my serger too because it broke instantly. But basically the foot on the serger was like wandering and twisting. So this being the foot. And so the serger like foot was like twisting to the left as I was facing it, with the fabric going through to the right. And I was like, what the heck is going on? So I didn't want to take it in for actual service. It's not cheap. And I'm like, it's an old, like, semi-industrial. I'm pretty sure if I can take my Juki apart and stop the oil leak, which I have so far, knock on wood, I can take apart this old serger. And I did. And basically what it was is there's a tiny little screw holding the, because there's the whole, like, shaft of the foot. Like, this is the shaft. The whole shaft of the foot was, like, twisting. So it was a little tiny screw on this shaft underneath just the faceplate. I just had to take the faceplate off. And it had, like, loosened. I don't even know how. Probably just through use. And I can't remember how I did this one on the other side. There we go. Hey, I think I did it. But so now it's sitting. Well, I had to move it because the kids were playing with the tension dials yesterday. Yay! And actually spun one right off, so I got to put it back on and retension it. But considering that I already have to redo the needle and the threading on it, that's fine. They love to play with the tension dials. They do it on the Juki. They do it on the, so it's an old Family Lock. I think Family Lock became Baby Lock, maybe. It's an old, like, made in Japan. It's such a good serger. But anyway, they love playing with the tension knobs because it's something that they can reach typically. And there's no way to actually block them off from the machine in a safe manner. Like, I can't put a baby gate right here because there's nothing to anchor it to. So that's why we have them in childcare now, because otherwise I don't get my work done. Well, I've been working a lot while they've been in bed. but that's not always reliable either. So I'm very excited for my husband to be home and take some time with the kids. It'll be good. I do actually have an old friend visiting this week, which is awesome. She's been teaching over in China. I think she's recently moved to Hong Kong. Yeah, so it'll be good to catch up with her. She went to the same high school as my husband, and that's actually how we met, which is hilarious because it's like the most random thing to bond over. But it's like one of those schools where it's like you don't know it unless you've been to it, sort of thing. So, all right, I think I already trimmed these seam allowances down. I could just, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clip the corners here to help ease the bottom of the curve. Probably something I should have done before I actually, I wonder if it would be easier if I did this before I sewed the curve. Okay, let's just, now I'm trying, like I'm working on not clipping the seam allowance. I'm just trimming up to it, and that'll just help ease the corner a little bit. You are a mess. All right. Let's just trim you right up. There we go. Okay, and then we'll just clip into... All right, apparently this is hard to show. But anyway, we're just going to clip right here, like this. Not clipping the seam allowance, which I can't see right now. This is why you want sharp shears when you're sewing, because otherwise this could lead to like very much hurting yourself, and you only want to use the tips so that you're not cutting your seam allowance. And that's hard to do unless your scissors are sharp like that. That was a lot of fabric right there because that's on the fold. There we go. That should help. I need a needle. Okay, I need a screwdriver to change the needle. So I'll be right back to after I grab the screwdriver. I think I saw it earlier. Sweet. Okay. Success. Okay, you know the basement's warm when I have to take my slippers off. I wear slippers around the sewing studio usually because A, I'm in the basement. So usually it's pretty chill. And B, it helps protect my toes. Just a little bit. That's all I need is just a little bit. But it's like, it does just help. In case there's needles on the floor or something like that. Pins, not needles, pins. All right, so we gotta pull thread out. Take this needle out. Usually I don't change needles until, oh yeah, never mind. Don't normally change them until they are actually like broken. But this one, I could just hear it. It changes, it doesn't sound the same. And what happened is with that one, is it just got bent on this to the, like the tip, very tip of the needle just got bent to the side a little bit. So just swapping out needles here, and then we're going to get back to sewing the bags. I just figured out this way. I never remember which way the needle groove goes on this. I should just put like a little sticky note right here to remind myself. So, because these are industrial needles. So on a domestic machine, the needle actually goes, it only goes in one way. These needles, however, are round on the shaft, so they can go any way they want. And if you don't actually like put it in properly, then you lose your stitches. Typically, I find that the thread actually pulls out of the eye. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. I'm pretty sure that that's right, but we'll find out in a minute, I guess. All right, needle changed. Now we're taking the out exterior panels and smashing them together. And then we will go, I'll go press the flaps, and then we will assemble these, and then we'll do the zipper divider, and that will be the end of these purses. They will be done, and that'll be amazing because this is one of the big things I want to get done before Omatsuri, and look at what we're doing. We're getting it done. Yay, us. That is a crease. Do not want a crease in this fabric. Is it very visible? Is it like, oh no, you can't see it. Okay, cool. Then we're good. Okay. Slow and steady. If I need to come back and restitch it, I can. All right, that's actually the other thing to always remember if you're a sewist, needle down, foot up if you need to like pivot stuff a little bit easier. I don't know what the equivalent in knitting would be. Take stitches off and put them on a cable needle maybe or something like that. Ah, we did it. Okay. Sweet. So this is actually a piece from a different obi. But I put it with this because this, why didn't I use the pink from the back? I don't think I had any more of the actual pink from this obi. So I'm Frankensteining it with another obi, which is why I actually keep all of the pieces around that I think are going to be usable. Does that make me a little bit of a fabric hoarder? Yes. Am I running out of storage solutions? Also, yes. It's always fun around here. It's also sometimes hard finding who wants to actually take the scraps. So, because I like them to go to like crafters that are actually going to use them. But you know, sometimes they just have to get out of the house too. That I don't think caught the actual exterior of the bag. Just the side panel. We will check here in a moment. But we're very, very close if it didn't. Oh, we might have. Just barely. Okay. So I got to just, oh yeah, no, it missed a little bit there. So we'll go back in and redo a little bit of that seam. Again, in some ways, this first round is just a basting seam. That's how I view it a lot of the time. Holds everything in place, and then you go back in and actually fix up what didn't work before. There we go. Without hopefully making it worse. Okay, actually, I think we're just going to go straight around. I know I'm not like stopping there, but I do like putting a little bit of extra stitching down at the bottom because that's where a high stress point is going to be on the seams. There we go. Nice and straight and easy on this side. All right, we have fixed it, I think. Looks like we caught it. Yep, all good, all sealed up. So now I'm going to take the pinking shears here while I'm thinking about it instead of the regular shears, just to kind of give it that little bit of like wiggle room on the bottom. I don't know why I didn't think of like trimming down the seam allowance on this like that before, but you know, experience, I guess. Now this other side, and then we'll go do the flaps. I will take you along to do the flaps. Because why not? If you're here, you're here. Okay. Why? It must, okay, so this second side is way easier this time. It must be easier because it's like the other side is already curved. I don't know. Half the work is done for it. Something made that easier. All right, so let's take this side up. Oh, you are going to be a bit of a difficult time. Okay, that's all right. Okay, I wonder actually if I clip there, because we've already done part of the seam. Yes. Okay, so I don't normally clip it because it's like it doesn't help, but now that'll help hold that little bit that I keep missing. Okay. Off we go again. I keep getting my fingers way too close to that needle. I should be using my stiletto, but I'm not. Just living on the edge, sewing on the edge. A terrible joke. Sweet, that did actually help there. I still need to go back over it because I didn't catch it perfectly, but that's okay. I'll take it. Again, if I just look at it like basting stitches, it's all good, right? It's going to hold the fabric in place, and then the actual proper stitching can come back in later. I'm going to go all the way around on this one too. Even up the seam allowance on the other side as well. Now, these do look like they're going to be very fancy looking purses. They are not. They are for anything you would like them to be. They are just a nice purse. I much prefer my items getting used than to feel like they need to be kept for fancy events and like that they're not good for everyday use. Most of these kimono would have been everyday use as well, from what I can tell, like the patterns and the prints and the fabrics. So I think the purses should also be an everyday use item. Now, obviously, this one with the lighter fabric, maybe you might want to hold off on, like, don't take it out on like a muddy day. But otherwise, yes. These are all care instructions for these are spot clean. You do have to be careful with water on silk because it will stain. So that would be my one caveat, I guess, to that everyday bag thing. All right, come with me, my friends. Let's go and actually get the steam press heated up. Grab all the flaps and bring them with us. Hello. Yeah, so I cut my hair very short. This is bobby pinned right now, so typically I see Stellar Studio, but like I said today, I was just like, I gotta get this done. They were closed, so I went to Great Clips instead. Great Clips does not have styling products, which is fine. I knew that, but hi, we're in the cutting room so that we can actually use the steam press to get the flaps steam pressed here. Oh, I see. It stopped heating. Okay, it's heating up right now. We got to press the flaps for the Glenda clutches. Anyway, so I sheared my hair off today, and now you can see it. Back feels a little bit like a sheep. I haven't had this short of hair for a very long time. But I figured, hey, it's hair. It's gonna grow back if nothing else. Eventually, it will grow back. I'm gonna wrap this fully in like a pressing cloth. So my super duper fancy pressing cloth is this offcut. But the problem is that last time when I pressed in here with the metal snap, it actually took a portion of the freaking the ironing cover off. So we're gonna cover it completely and hopefully prevent that. Because basically what I would have done is it would have heated the metal up and I think melted the actual iron cover. Okay, I'm gonna give this actually we're not gonna do any steam for this first press, and we're gonna see where it gets to. All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm going to turn over and do it on the other side as well, because hi, why not? I just got very hungry. What time is it? Oh, yeah, that would be why. I ate 2 hours ago. So we're just pressing the flaps so that they're nice and crisp. I have decided that we will not be top stitching them, but that a little bit of pressing just helps really even everything out. Stabilizer in there is very tight, so it just needs to be pressed. Let's actually do it one more time. Nice thing about the press too is it keeps a nice even pressure on what you're pressing versus an iron, which is you pressing down on it. And yeah, there we go. That looks good. Sweet. All right. So we're going to take the fans. Now, I'm not ever going to get rid of that line that you see in the middle there. That was actually a fold line on the obi itself. So when I buy these obi, typically there's like a long flat bit, and then there's a bit that's like folded over, and that's what you wrap around your belly. Or that's where it gets folded to wrap around your belly if it's not pre-folded. This one you're going to blast with a bit of steam. I know I just said that the obi don't get water on them, but a little bit of steam through the cotton is going to be good for it. Although that sounded like I'm out of steam anyway, so not a big deal. Yeah, there we go. That looks so good. So yeah, so this will always be there, but that's part of the wear on the actual obi. Last one. Nice, nice, nice. Just kind of give it a hand press here. And then we can go stitch the bags themselves. So the next step is actually putting everything together. We'll baste these flaps onto the bag. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Nice, flat. Oh, these purses are going to be gorgeous, guys. I'm excited. All right, let's come back with me out of the cutting room. I just didn't want to leave completely disappear and go into complete radio silence while I did that. All right. Now I need to minimize you a little bit, and then we'll look at the actual assembly instructions for this. Okay, go. Could I do it on my phone? Yes. Is the phone's font a little bit small? Yes. Then I don't feel like scrolling in to see it constantly. Okay, Glenda. Minimize you down just a touch so that I can see everything that I need to see. All right. Okay, apparently it wants me to press around the top edge of the bag. There we go. This is what I need. So we put the flap to the bag exterior. And then baste it. Okay. All right, where are we going to start? Let's start with this one because it's handy. Easy. All right, so we're going to... Do you want me to turn this? It looks like it. Trim all seam allowances. Yeah, so in this case, I'm going to have to turn all of these because that's just going to make this assembly section easier. I couldn't remember if I needed to... which piece I needed to turn, but it's this one. This is not a good feeling bag to turn. I was doing stuff last night with it. I'm like, oh, it just does not feel good turning. No. We will do it and I will survive. The bag will also survive. Oh my goodness. It looks so good already. This bag, oh, it just comes together so nicely. All right. So, gotta center this on the bag itself, like that. Yes. All right. So this gets put on. I'm going to clip it in the middle here. Then I'll measure to make sure that it's as center as I can get it, basically. Done. Where is... I've got an itty bitty ruler over here, so I'll just grab it and we'll measure in. There we go. Eighth and a bit, almost a quarter. The full quarter on the other side. Okay, so we're gonna scooch by like there, I think. Okay. This is requiring a lot more thought than I thought I was going to today. It may require me to actually go get another coffee. Okay, so the 1/4 inch is on the gray side of the line. There we go. As centered as it can be. And then we're going to take it in, and this one's going to be easier to actually sew from the inside, and it wants me to sew it at a basting stitch, which is longer. So in this case, I will actually go in and do all 3 of these at once. As I was saying earlier, I don't typically like doing batch with these purses, but this is an exception of like these steps where it's like, whatever. All the pieces are together. I may as well batch them. But like sewing the exteriors and the interiors, all of that, it's easier to just do them individually. There we go. So there is the flap installed on this one, like that. And so when you fold everything in here, this stabilizer gives it a lot of body. All right. I don't know why I didn't fold you guys down to actually see that sewing, but we'll do it next. And it will come together a lot better once everything is installed on the interior. But that gives you a really good idea of how it's going to look when it's finished. And then it's going to have a leather strap as well. All right, so I can actually make you a little bit larger here. There we go. And I'm going to turn you so you can actually see this instead of having to watch me. There we go. I think you can see the sewing machine well. You can. All right, so now we need to do the connectors. So we will do that, and then screw it. We'll just do. Okay, machine base the connector to the flap and exterior. Pin a connector along the very edge. All right. This one is getting the polka dot swirl connectors, and they were not extra. Okay, so typically, yeah, these are a little bit longer than the pattern called for because it's just what I had available. And the seam allowance is that. So we're going to put them up a little bit extra above the actual bag, and then I'll trim them after I base them in. This is where pins would come in handy, but whatever. Okay, and then these were the same length, right? Yes. We're just going to go with, we need to put it there so that they're even, because that's what matters. Okay. Just gotta be even. Okay, and then go in and clip. That needs to be straightened out a little bit. There we go. Make sure that that's the same distance down. Yeah, we're good. All right. So they need to be machine basted in. I'll flip it over again because that was far easier to sew stuff in with. Right there. Now, technically, basting stitches should be pulled out, but I'm going to use it as extra reinforcement for these D-ring tabs because that is where the most stress is going to be. And then I'm going to trim it down because there's a lot of interfacing in that. Like to the point where this was actually like, hey, what are you doing? The sewing machine doesn't give me a lot of grief about stuff, but it gave me grief about that. So it tells you how many layers there are. I think it's like, yeah, it's not happy right now. And it's okay. You only got to do 2 more thin layers because it's like fabric and interfacing. Okay. So there's that all together and assembled. And now then. Okay, and then the next step is sewing in the lining. So we'll skip that for a moment. And we'll do the next assembly for the actual fan bag. Since I've already got the seam allowance so large, I don't want to have to keep moving the seam allowance up and down. That is the lining for this one. That is the lining for that one. And then I promise I had the connectors for these earlier. There they are. Here they are, right here. So they're going to need to be put right at the top because... Oh yeah, we need to turn this right side out first. Anyway, they need to be put right at the top because there's not as much excess fabric there as there were on the first ones. How long? Okay, so I've been on for an hour. It's 2 o'clock right now, or nearly 2. So I've got just under 3 hours before I need to go. So we'll get these done on camera for sure. And then I think I'm going to go grab a coffee from upstairs. And then we will... Okay, just to double check to make sure that things are looking good on the exterior here. Since just a nice kind of check. This one's going to be easy because I can line up the... Right? Because then... Oh, I was trying to be so careful and to get all the colors lined up properly, but the flap is opposite. Oh no, just with how I put the snap in. Oh well, it still looks really good, but I was like feeling so clever because all my lines were supposed to line up and now it doesn't. Oh well. That's okay. All right, let's push this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, then we'll clip it in. Oh, I just realized, sorry. Shouldn't be working down there. I should be working up on the desk. Okay. Clip, because that is the proper center of this bag. I am also just going to clip in the... Yeah, it's like, it's not actually properly centered in the bag, but if I move that vertical line, it wouldn't work. Anyway, I'm going to clip the D-ring tabs in right away as well, because then I only have to do 1 line of basting stitches. And realistically, why not? Because I just get lined up here. And yeah, that's enough to actually stitch it down when I get around to it. These are not the correct size of D-rings for this bag either, by the way. They are actually, so the hardware it calls for is 1 or 1/2 inch. These are 1 inch because that's what I have, and that's what I have as leather hardware. So I wanted everything to match that way. I think it also will make it sturdier as well for just getting, like, holding, actually using it as a purse versus like not. All right, I don't know why I didn't turn those clips around because it's always easier to take them off when the flat is against this deck. But here we go. So we're installing the D-ring tabs and basting down the flap for the Glenda Clutch right now. Oh my goodness. There we go. Okay. And I'm doing it all in one fell swoop because that is one of my time savers, I guess. I don't know. I don't feel like doing it twice, I guess. There we go. And somehow that all got shifted. All right, no, and that D-ring needs to be pulled up. So it was actually like, that's a good 1/8 of an inch that needs to just be shifted back up. I'm also going to trim down all these little threads because otherwise they look like they're, it gets sewn. Okay, so this time I can clip it in with the clip, the right direction. There we go. Or just hold it in place. That works too because we're coming up on it pretty fast. And a little bit of back stitch because why not? Better than not. There we go. Oh, it would have been helpful if I actually basted that in on the right side. Whoops. All right, so we'll pull that basting stitch in a minute. But gorgeous. And then, so what I was going to do is I was going to line it up so that the red and the black were lined up all the way through, but I didn't think about that when I was installing the snap. So whatever, it still looks really good. I'm very proud of how that vertical line has been lining up. Like, you cannot tell on the bottom. It's invisible. Because the seam is right there. Okay, so you can see it there, but like further back, you can't see that. That's 2 pieces, which, like, pattern matching for the win. All right. Now, rip out your seam because that is what you actually screwed up. Yeah. All right, D-ring tabs are supposed to be on the interior, not the exterior. Although having them on the exterior wouldn't be the worst thing. Okay, there we go. That's what happens when you move things around. Okay. and why we're basting it in before we actually sew it in. Because if I'd sewn it in that way, I would have been far more angry. Far angrier with everything. Okay, there we go. Hold it in place again. No, stop scooching around. Just get under there and behave yourself. Okay. Stitch, stitch, stitch. Everything's going to have another stitch run over top of it anyway at the actual proper seam allowance. But, you know, again, I'm going to use this as a little bit of extra reinforcement for the actual stuff. Okay, that's on the right side now. So annoying. Anyway, so this is how it's going to look when it's all assembled and everything is in there. I'm very, very pleased with how it's going to look. Super cool. Actually, I think there's, oh yeah, that's still getting stitched. I'm like, there's a gap here, but it's not actually finished yet, Katie. Although I wonder if I should run another. Okay, let's see how much further I need to go down. Oh yeah, at the proper seam allowance, it's going to get picked up. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that then. Okay, so there's that piece with its lining, and now the final one. And I was smart and actually put its D-ring tabs in the bag itself. Apparently right now is like the time for all the stuff to come in. Okay, this is this flap. Yeah. Okay. Oh, right, this has turned out. Ugh. Oh God, that is such. It sounds bad. It feels bad. It's just, ugh. This person's gonna be so worth it, but it just is like, no. All right, there we go. Turned out. Okay. And then that. And then right sides together on the non-magnetic side. Yep. And then we gotta pin it in the center. I should actually start clipping the center of these things, like just a little snip with the scissors. Right, turn it around because that'll be easier. Because then it'll be easier to line up as well. Get off there. Okay, and then there as well. Clip, 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 and then we'll just make sure that I've got it actually centered as best I can. 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch. There we go. That's as centered as I'm going to get it. All right, so let's pin or clip the D-ring tabs in now. That is really high, or really long, so we're going to go up to about there. Yeah, that feels good for where it's actually going to get stitched. We'll trim them down. The proportions on them are off versus the pattern, mostly because they're a little bit wider as well, so I want to make sure that they kind of, I don't know, so they fit in properly. Just realize that that's actually upside down. We want the flat out. We want the flat out rather than in, because the flat out means that it's easier to get stuff off. All right, are these the same length? No, that's the same length. Okay, so we just gotta scoot. Okay, so it's like actually properly lined up with the fabric. There we go. That's what we'll do. There. All right, face them in. Let's do this. Okay. I know you're not happy about it. We're almost done. Don't worry. We're almost done. You can do these things. You can do hard things. I can do hard things. Especially with my sewing machine. Okay. Done. Okay, so everything is basted together. Now and there was the end of the bobbin thread. You didn't remain lined up. Okay, so we'll go back in and rebaste you. But the nice thing is now I can take this bobbin out. Didn't end too far from the end, and I can wind it with the clear thread so that I can top stitch the body of the purse with monofilament, which is a clear, it's basically fishing line. No, don't get swallowed up by the... There's like a little drip tray underneath. And I've got a paper towel in it, so it was like in the paper towel. Gross. Okay. It's not actually gross. Just linty. Okay, so there is that. Now where is the thread? I think it's back here. Hey, it's actually where it's supposed to be. In my drawer. Pull the white, because we've got lots of white bobbins right now. Well, we've got 2 white bobbins. That's enough for doing what we need to do. And then I was told that this should work as bobbin thread. I don't know. This is an experiment, so we'll see. Around. Basically, the woman said, I see no reason why this shouldn't work. Because I've tried to use metallic thread in this machine, and that breaks constantly. That would actually be my preferred use. Would be the like metallic threads, but it just hasn't panned out. Okay, there we go. So we're just gonna baste this, and then I think so that we can start that bobbin, we will sew the zippers into the zipper dividers. Hi, Delia. Sorry. Didn't mean to actually ignore you. Just, I'm actually talking to adults right now. Okay, go. All right, that's basted in this time. Success. Okay, and we'll trim down the seam allowance, or the stuff that's sticking up above on that one. Okay, so now the next step, actually, so let's pop the lining in and actually do the lining. So how does it want me to do the lining? Okay, the linings need to be turned this way. And then the bag actually gets put into the lining like this. Now, the trick to this one is A, get everything in the bag or in the lining, and B, you want to line up all these side seams. Trim some threads there, just get them all away. All right. Let's get these all lined up, because you are going to see this when it's done. And then I'm going to pin it, because I'm going to sew it from the inside. Lots of people sew from the outside. I find it easier to sew from the inside. I don't know. That's just personal preference. This is where it's got to be massaged a little bit into place, because obviously, again, you're trying to shove 2 pieces of the same size into the same space, basically. There we go. It is kind of nice that join technique of like abutting the joints works for this, though, because so that just took up a little bit more fabric on one side than the other. All right, why are you tight on this side and not the other side? Interesting. Oh, because you've got the flap on this side. Okay, so we will start stitching on the flap side, so that it's just, I'm out of my misery for that one. Okay, and then I think this needs to lay this way. Looking good, though. Awesome. All right. Clips. Ugh. There we go. Threads everywhere. Yeah, we'll finish these on camera, and then I'll go do more prep work for wallets. I think there's 4 or 5 wallets right now, which is the goal. Well, Obi wallets. I'll work on other fabric wallets later. Okay, we're going to shove these together a little bit. There we go. The other nice thing is that since the exterior is in the interior, and I will be sewing from the interior, like the inside of this bag, I can sew along where the stabilizer is, which is exactly what you want to do. since that is going to catch everything. Okay, that actually came together very nicely. So let's start stitching in the middle of the flap here. I'm going to turn my stitch length down to what I've been using for the rest of the bag. Hi, why aren't you going past that? Okay, there. Yeah, scoot it in just a tick. Okay, so there's the seam allowance that they want me to use. That's keeping a nice line along the stabilizer. I'm going to come up to the front here, and then I will actually, then I'll start the bobbin winding for the clear thread. I know, machine, you can do it. There, okay. And then we'll go around the corner here at the recommended seam allowance. And then get the light out of the way because apparently okay, clip can move. Sweet. So this is the case where like a little bit slower is obviously a little bit better, just because it's fairly picky, or just there's just a lot of moving parts. I guess it's not picky. All right. I don't know if that. No, that's not winding yet. All right. Let's see if I can get this winding. Here we go. Okay. Where'd you go? There we go. Oh yeah. Okay, there we go. It's winding. Good, good. I'm gonna have to come around the front again to actually get the proper seam allowance, but that's okay. So now I'll go around this other corner here and scoot it right over so that we can get the proper seam allowance across the side panel here. Go. And then come into the corner here again. It really does not like those D-ring connectors. That's lovely. All right. Remember, you can lift your foot if you need to. That's a reminder for me too. A verbal reminder. All right, come on. Here we go. Phew! All right. There is the bag body done and dusted. I'm going to go around the front again just to get it snugged up a little bit, since it just slipped, and I want it to be a little bit snugger to the stabilizer. Oh, come on. Clip those threads that have caught on the sewing foot. There we go. There, that's the seam allowance we want. And then I'll just end it in the corner here. There. All right. Now. Yeah, and then they want me to trim the seam allowance down, and that makes total sense. Because this is a very large seam allowance for this one. I hate that that's kind of happening off camera. There, we're going to turn it, and then you can kind of see this direction. Okay, and then make sure, no, that didn't get stitched over with the seam connector, the connector here. So let's do that again. Okay, there we go. I think that should have done it. Nope, not quite. Oh man. Okay, so the lining on this D-ring connector actually shifted quite a bit. I just caught it, so I'm just gonna sneak it up here. Actually, we're going to seam rip it, and then I'll sneak it up and just stitch over it and blend it in with the other seam line. Okay, where is the seams? Where are the stitches? Stitchy, stitchy, stitches. Wonder what a stitch call would sound like. Okay, there we go. Why did that not stitch properly? Oh, because it like veered up top. All right. I shouldn't have run that second stitch over. I should have just pulled it back. Oh well. We'll get fixed. I'm glad I caught that before I turned the bag out though, because this bag is, again, not fun to turn, especially now that the flap's on there, because it takes up a lot of room with its stabilizer. Okay, I think I'm good. I think I got it now. There we go. Seam ripped. Okay, I'm going to back it up a little bit because the seam allowance on the purse a little bit further back is actually too low for the amount of stress that's going to be on the lining. Okay, too little seam allowance. There we go. Not much, but it needs to go back a little bit. This is why it's nice that the D-ring connector is basted, because it means that I don't have to worry about it actually moving too much. I just need to make sure that it's actually connected fully to the lining and the exterior. Okay, there we go. So that, it did get caught on the corner and across the side panel. It just, I don't know, it missed the D-ring connector. So we're going to move it up. And then we're going to start from about halfway down the bag where the seam allowance started to go all off kilter. Da, da, da. Okay, up there. There we go. Almost there. Yeah. Sweet. Stitch over that old connector a couple times. And now it's caught. Yep. All good across the back. All right. Trimming down the seam allowance a little bit. Just a little bit. Do it across the side panel here. We'll finish off that cut in the corner here. Like I said, I'm glad I caught that before I did anything else. All right. Cut it down. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Do I throw everything on the floor? Yes. Does it make my floor super dirty? It's untidy. It's not dirty. Okay. Now, the key to this is, did I leave a large enough turning area? So let's just go slow-ish and see. Oh, curses. I need to actually put my label on. I should have done that before I put the exterior and interior together. So I'll grab a couple for the other two bags. All right. Hey, I did leave a big enough turning. Sweet. That was actually way easier than I've had in the past. I will take it. Oh man, this is, I can already tell you, I really like how this came together. I haven't actually sewn a purse with the obi yet. Well, I've been sewing wedge bags with them, but I didn't interface the obi, which was a major mistake. Like, horrendous mistake. I shouldn't have done that. But this came together so nicely. Oh my goodness. Okay, well then. Obviously, it needs to be pressed and top stitched around the whole body of the bag. That's why I'm winding the bobbin of clear thread right now, because I don't want any white thread showing through. Just going to double check to make sure that I caught the whole flap, which I did. D-rings are good. Yeah, D-rings are good, I think. Yeah, there's no stitching showing there. Good. Okay. So yeah, so that's how it came together. And then it'll come around. The sides will be pinched in because they hold there's a zipper divider that goes in the middle here. D-rings for the strap. And then the flap, which is the highlight and star of the show. Just like that. Now it will actually get, there we go. It'll look better once everything's inside of it. But like, it's so cute. And it's like such a good size too. Like, it's very deceptive. Like, thin, so gorgeous. And then the interior of it is like spectacular as well. A little bit baggy, but that I can, like, once we get the bottom actually sewn up and the zipper divider in, it'll be fine. I can always take up a little bit of the actual like bottom when I stitch up the, I stitch in the, when I finish the bottom liner. So yeah, so there we go. That looks better. Because that's what I was worried about, is like, I don't want a baggy lining in these. And with the kimono being so slippery, it was a very high possibility of that happening. But no, it looks like it fit in darn near perfect. All right. I'm just going to finger roll the exterior for top stitching because I don't really want to take this back to the press. And honestly, I think just finger rolling it's going to work because of the stabilizer actually in the purse itself already. There we go. And I don't feel like it needs to be actually like pressed again anyway, except for maybe a little bit around the flap, but I'll just move the flap so that it's not pulling up on the fabric. There we go. Finger roll it underneath and clip it in place. Oh, there we go. Finger roll and clip. There we go. All right. And clip here, and then that's all inside. Awesome. All right, so I gotta wait for the, I'm gonna wait for the bobbin to be finished because then I can like just, we can top stitch everything all at once. I'm just double checking to make sure that like, oh yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna go grab the labels, the bag labels for these. One moment. Ugh. Okay, and some interfacing. Well, I said interfacing, I meant stabilizer, because then I can put some stabilizer underneath the prongs so that the bag is actually protected from the little metal grids that we use for these. All right. Okay, so the nice thing about some of these is that it's going to be super easy to actually do the placement. So I think I am getting to the point where I probably need a snack and a coffee again, or some sort of caffeination. I always skip the coffee, or I skipped the coffee on Friday, and I really regretted it. So I think I might actually need a coffee today. But anyway, because there's already the center line on this, it should be pretty easy to actually place the bag tag. I placed the bag tags on the back here. Don't want to disrupt the pattern, obviously. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually fold the corners in and match these sides, and then we're going to crease the middle there, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, so the center is where the line was from the obi itself. And then I'm going to measure down 2 inches from that top seam. So I think that's going to look the best. It's like the top third of the bag and centered. So I'm going to take an area erasing pen. This will all be covered up anyway, but it is an area erasing pen, and I'm just going to put a dot at the 2-inch mark. You can barely even see it on camera. And then we're going to go in with the actual little... Hi, you okay? Okay. The Flynn is behind me. So let's feature him. We'll move the cord out of the way. Anyway, so we're going to take this, and then I can never remember how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then, but the tags are not, they don't center in the actual like metal piece. So there's the bag tag. I want something a little bit elevated for the purses and wallets, kind of like how I elevated the tags for the Kato drawstring bags. And so let's see. So this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. So we want to center the bag tag. Honestly, that looks like it's centered to me. Like the actual tag looks centered to me. Yeah. Beep. Okay. So that needs to be there, and that needs to be, it needs to be those 2 holes right there. Sweet. This one right here, and then this one right here. And then we'll take the interfacing that I use as well, stabilizer in this case, and we're going to actually put translated those marks as well. So it's like the 2nd and the 5th hole, I think. 2nd on one, 3 on the other. Good enough. Okay. And then we take our seam ripper and carefully seam rip. Most of the time I do use the very tip of my shears for this, just because it's a little bit safer. So that I don't like over rip stuff. And actually I think I'm going to do that anyway, because that was kind of terrifying. So I just take my shears and go snip like that. And then for the actual bag, this is why I need to do this beforehand. We don't want, like, you don't want that metal bit actually in your purse. So take it, we're going to snip it as well. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be done. Because again, it's going to be covered by the actual like little... This is when I wish I had an overhead camera set up. Because it's like, you're just looking at the bag front, which is not interesting. So not where any of the action is happening. Okay. There. All right. Hopefully that got through the interfacing. That is my biggest concern. Then I reach in. So my hand is in the lining. And we pop the bag tag, make sure it's right side up. I just realized, I'm like, wait. Dumb to put it upside down. Don't put it upside down. Oh, I didn't make it through the... I made it through the obi and I made it through the stabilizer. I did not make it through the interfacing on the other side. There we go. All right. So there's the tag. And then I'm going to put the metal bit on as well. There we go. And then I'm actually going to put the interface or the stabilizer on top of the metal bit, because that's what I'm worried about rubbing against the actual purse is the metal washer, not the actual like little legs of the tag or anything like that. Okay. And then I saw someone actually use like a cup to push this down. So we're going to use my water bottle. And with this one, I'm actually going, my snaps I push out. This I'm going to push in, because I've heard that that actually helps bring it snugger to the bag. So we're going to do that. So, and then I'll show this before I actually close it up. Just installing the bag tag on the clutch here with my very fancy press of choice here. Hi. What happened here? Oh, because, okay, that's fine. Okay. And so now the legs are folded in and the bag tag is placed on the bag, not straight. Okay, well then, I'm just going to manually turn that a little bit, straighten it out, level it out with the actual bag. I haven't had that problem before. All right. Is that better? It needs to go the other direction. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, let's see if that worked. Yep, that worked. Manipulate it a little bit more here. There. I don't want to damage the fabric, so that's as far as we're going to go. Oh, that's really crooked. Why has that happened? Okay. I probably ended up with the those cuts in the bag being uneven, maybe? Should have been fine, but you know, you never know, I guess. Okay. There. There we go. Now it's straight. Yep. Okay, so we'll go back in and redo that. Middle bit on, interfacing on, fold them to the middle. For some reason, these ones are a lot better. There we go. Like, they're a lot easier to bend than the snaps that I use. So, sweet. So there's the bag tag installed. Okay, so and then we can go in and I can actually finish the one inner seam that we've got left. I will do that in white because this fabric is so light you're not going to be able to tell where it is anyway, unless you've been watching this video. I'm going to fold it under a generous seam allowance just to kind of help tighten everything up. So I'm going to actually pop the lining all the way out. Oh, destroyed my nail on that. There we go. I just want to keep catching on the fabric. All right. So yeah, we're going to do a very generous seam allowance on this just to help tighten everything up around the corners. And then just stitch it closed. There we go. I guess it's not very generous, but it's a generous seam allowance. And then stitch across. Turn you so you can actually see the machine again. Oh, okay, I'm almost done. Sweet. There we go. All right, now I'll do the installation of those bag tags on the other two before I actually put the lining in, because that will make this easier. Oh yeah, there we go. Now it fits in very nicely. That's better. Sweet. And then yeah, once it's top stitched, that will be like the lining just snugged right up with that finishing seam. All right, so this one will be very easy because look at that line. At least it'll be easy for like getting the tag actually centered. Okay, so we're going to open up the tag here. So it does actually come with them folded to the center. We'll open the tag up. So yeah, and I'm getting to the point where I do need a snack and a little bit of like a break. So I think what I'm going to do is I will, I'm going to do the tags and then I'll head upstairs. So these two will be finished off camera, but yeah, you get the general idea. I have to do the zipper dividers now and then just the There's not much left. Zipper dividers have to be put in. I will be riveting them into the bag. The pattern actually calls for you to sew them, but I find it difficult to maneuver the bag into the machine, so riveting is a way, it's just as good, and it's a way easier process to actually use for these bags. Okay, so let's center this in here. Okay, yeah, so the 3 needs to go on the red side, and the 2 needs to go on the, okay, right there. Okay, so 3 in and 2 in. All right, and I want to measure this down. Where's the ruler? Here's a ruler, not the ruler I usually use, but actually that'll help me level it as well. Okay, so that's 4.5 inches. That's right. Okay. Scoot. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so 3 in, 2 in. No, you can't see the purple mark on the fabric. What I did is I score it basically into the stabilizer, so I know where it goes. Okay, now seam ripper. Yeah, that's even. And just start it at the same level. Just tiniest of seam rips. There we go. Same here. In. Tiniest little cut for this. There we go. Yeah, looked right. Pop it in. We'll make sure that it's even this time, because apparently that's something I had to worry about that I didn't realize about before. I don't know why. People always talk about having like bag tags not straight. It's just like, oh, I haven't had that problem yet. And apparently I do. Okay. So it is cut all the way through. Oh, come here. Come here. Make sure it's the right side up. Oh my goodness. Dropsy. Okay. Pop it in. Come on. I know I want you as a tight fit, but you do need to go in. Okay. Let's go. All right. It's obviously cut all the way through. It's just having a moment. Okay. There we go. I must have missed like one stitch that I needed to. Okay, that one is straight this time. Especially once it gets like actually properly installed. Okay. Get it in. Get it squished. So the washer over top. There we go. And then I need to get these prepped, which are easier to do with the shears, like this and this. Oops. Well, that doesn't work. I'll have to cut one more. That's okay. There. Gentle cuts. Just hack through it. All right. And then this is actually easier to see this time because there's no lining in place. So I'm going to pop and pop. And then bend and bend. And there we are. Bag tag installed. And that is a nice tight finish. So that's good. I'm going to do the last one while I'm in the process of doing these because, again, why not? Cut one more stabilizer. And this is why I would not typically suggest shears for actually cutting for your bag tag. Okay, good enough. Snip. This is also why I keep a lot of stabilizer. scraps around is they're very good for like this sort of thing. They're also extremely good for snap. So I have to do the same thing behind the snaps as well. Those are the same length, so that can be another bag tag. All right. Get this in like that. 3 and 2. Maybe it would be better to do it with the seam ripper. Okay, yep, that worked. Punch through. There we go. Zip up just a touch. There we go. All right. That one was done. That one is done. We need to do the sediment, the mineral bag. All right, now this one does not have any clear center markings on the back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half so that the corners match. Ooh, goodness. Nope, we're going to use a ruler. Handy dandy rulers. There's the one that I want. Okay, so we have a duck. Okay, and there's the end line. Okay, so we need to do it from here. Yep, that does not look centered. Would that be centered? Oh, actually, yes. Once you add in the actual length of the thing. Sweet, that's correct. Okay, so now we're going to scoot it down to the depth I want, like that. That is also straight even. And then we're just going to mark it. Make it straight this way. There we go. And then we're going to do mark. Nope, mark. There we go. All right. Pop this back on. Puncture the seam ripper through the bag to get this last bag tag installed. And then I'm going to head out for a snack and a coffee. Because tonight I need to tidy and clean the house a little bit. Because that's just how life goes. Go. It's like I get to sew tonight, but I don't get to sew tonight. I got to tidy up. And then tomorrow I'll clean. There we go. All right. I'm going to pop the bag tag through. Make sure it's right side up because that would be dumb. And that is straight. There you go. This doesn't look straight on camera, but it is straight to the bag. I think. Yeah, we're good. Okay. And then we put the washer on top. And then I will put the stabilizer in between to cover the washers because I don't want the washer actually rubbing against the interior kimono because it's delicate and it could catch and damage the kimono. I haven't had that happen, but I haven't made a lot of purses either. So there we go. So there's the bag tags installed on the Glendas. So the interiors put into one. I have 2 more interiors to do, and then I need to do the zipper divider. So I am going to go have a coffee and a snack, and then you'll see these when they're all done. So thanks for joining me. And if you liked this video, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends if you think they'd like it too. I typically do stream in the evenings, and then I will be having a scheduled stream at some point this weekend. I just got to figure it out with my husband when will work the best for it. So I'll chat with you guys all soon, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.